who's going to break first? Because the word that keeps coming back to me and that buyers and sellers alike keep asking me is sustainable. Like, how long is this market sustainable? And when you see record prices and record numbers like that, you start to wonder. How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt. That is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, Thursday, June the 13th, record prices in the month of May. So we're about halfway through the year here in the Washington, D.C. area and everywhere in the United States, halfway through the year. And we are seeing supply absolutely shoot through the roof. We're also seeing record prices, okay? So on this episode, we're going to be talking about how can there be record prices with also increasing supply? We're going to get into the most affordable beach towns in the Washington, D.C. area. So think hop in your car with the kids, take a long weekend out to the beach somewhere. And then we're going to get into in or out. Shawn, let's start with an article from Urban Turf DC. Okay. Record prices, Sideline Homebuyers in May as supply soars in the D.C. area. So a couple things to go off of that title. You have record prices, okay, so prices are increasing. Sideline home buyers, okay, so that means that there's not as much activity. And then you have supply soaring, Shawn. And in this graph provided to us by Urban Turf, we see active listings in May, 7,300 active listings, okay? So we haven't seen this number in at least over a year. The most recent highest was in October of 2023 at 6,800. To give you an idea, in December, just 6 months ago, we were at 4,700 listings. Okay, so that's obviously, always going to be a low point of the year, 4,700. Now we're up to 7,300, which is a 32% year-over-year increase from May of 2023. So in addition, the combination of high prices and high interest rates has caused pending home sales to go down 6.5% in the region in May, and in D.C. proper, sales fell nearly 20%. So you kind of have this dichotomy of sellers, homeowners still getting record prices, on average, jumble all the numbers together. But you also have more inventory, and you have less buyers transacting, less transactions happening, less houses being traded. So, Shawn, at what point are we going to reach this breaking point? Who's going to break first? Because the word that keeps coming back to me and that buyers and sellers alike keep asking me is sustainable. Like, how long is this market sustainable? And when you see record prices and record numbers like that, you start to wonder.
Yeah, it's very hard because you could go two different ways. You see all this inventory, you think there's a lot of inventory coming on, but is there? I mean, I would have said, if I would have seen, seeing these numbers, I'm thinking, is that true? Is it really that we're up 32% in inventory from last May? But, the funny thing is, I felt, if you remember, we were talking 2 weeks ago, and I was like, man, all of a sudden I feel really slow. I felt like this pullback. And I equated it to Memorial Day. Memorial Day weekend, typically people are just like, all right, I'm done. Let's go. Let's move on. I'm sick of looking for houses. I want to just, go have fun. But now 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later after that, I got a different sense, just me personally. And this is the thing about agents and the ups and downs of this business. Some agents are slow, other agents are going, and, looking at statistics is different. But all of a sudden, it was crazy. In one day, I had so I had a condo on the market in Windsor Plaza, right? Windsor Plaza, I had sold a few listings in there before this year, we all had, and they were selling first weekend. And then this one came on, same price, a little bit bigger, really nice. And it was on the market for almost 4 weeks before it went under contract. But the odd thing is that this week, I got 3 offers on it in one day.
Wow.
Which is crazy, right? And so you can tell that people were thinking, they were on the sidelines for those 2 weeks. And And then all of a sudden people came back from vacation and thinking, all right, now I got to get back into reality. And all of a sudden I had 3 offers.
Had these buyers seen it the first couple of weeks, or were these
Yes.
maybe new buyers?
No, these were buyers that had seen it before. They were thinking about it, was one. The one that actually ended up winning it was all cash. And after 4 weeks, I'm getting full price for the property. So like you would think that, there would be a price drop or whatever, but it was just weird how we just waited it out and the people started sprinting back in. And then that same day I had 3 different buyers call me. And so I was surprised that I'm like, where's this all coming from? So again, I don't know if it's just, the luck of the draw or, because my advertising went out or because I continually do open houses in the area, or if it's just that people are coming back into the market. And so maybe that's why we saw an uptick in May, because we had an early Memorial Day weekend. And so people start thinking that May is the best time to sell. So everybody's throwing these things on the market. And then all of a sudden we have like a vacation of 2 weeks in there that kind of screwed things up. So maybe we'll see June cut back on those numbers. I don't know. But to see a 32% rise over last year is pretty surprising because, and I'll say this, each little section, DC proper, there's different neighborhoods in DC that are probably, some are high in demand and others are seeing the higher inventory. And then you go over to Arlington and you look at Arlington inventory. And for the most part, we have seen Arlington inventory stay kind of stable. So I don't think that's giving to the actual inventory in the DC metro. I don't think Arlington is one of the causes, although I didn't look this past week. And you also have to look not only at the neighborhoods or within Alexandria, Arlington, and then into Maryland, but you also have to look at what is selling. And we've said this before, the single family market is pretty hot still as far as what I'm seeing. But the condo market is a little bit slower. Like I was saying, it took me 4 weeks to sell this compared to a weekend. And that's why you're seeing a little bit more higher inventory for those. So what's going to happen in the future? Now, this week, we saw interest rates actually come down on news that inflation was we were getting a handle on inflation. So that could be good news for buyers. I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are you feeling in the market personally with your clients? How are your listings doing? How are your showings going?
Well, I have an idea that if we were to look at these numbers, inventory-wise, we'd probably see a lot of new construction inventory. Okay. So I'm thinking about Arlington. I'm thinking about, the above 2.5 range. I think we would see a lot of inventory because it's not, a lot of $900,000 single family Westover houses coming on the market, right? It's the River Places, it's the the Country Club Hills new construction. So I think maybe in the future what we could do is break this down by type of property. Yeah. So single family detached, townhouse, and condo. Now, article from Gazette Leader, aka the Sun Gazette, talks about prices still rising for Arlington single family properties. So piggybacking on what Urban Turf said, Arlington saw a 14% drop in year-over-year home sales in May. However, we are still starting to see prices increase. Average sales price of all properties that went to closing during the month was $922,000, up 11%.
That's the average sales price?
In part because the percentage of single-family homes in May 2024, 38.5% of sales, was higher than May 2023, 34.3%. So we can say average sales price in Arlington, $922,000. Pretty misleading because when you get down to the townhouses, they were at about, $569,000. Let's see, $569,000 includes townhouses, row homes, and condominiums. So they've kind of broken it up between single family and essentially everything else. Actual single family house, because the 922 was everything, actual single family house was up 12% to 1.485.
I was going to say, now, 900 and some seems really low.
Right.
Because you're not buying a single family. There's very few under $1 million that you can purchase.
The next sentence, that seems to suggest that rumors of Arlington's single family market hitting a ceiling were at the very least premature. Yeah, safe to say that single family house in Arlington not necessarily hitting a pricing ceiling right now.
No, and I don't think they continue to impress me, honestly. And this is a conversation I was having the other day because when you're looking at new construction, like you mentioned the new construction inventory. And the new construction inventory starts, maybe at 2 million. Maybe you can find one at 2 million, and then it's going up from there. And there's a lot at 2.5, 2.6 and up. And so, but you've also got to look at neighborhoods, and certain people are looking for neighborhoods. And some people that called me this week were looking in particular, actually in my neighborhood in Terra Leeway Heights, and another one was looking in Waverly Hills. And so when you actually look at new construction in those two neighborhoods, there was like one, two maybe. And so that's where the price is. I called my buddy that's a real estate agent. I was like, man, what do you think about this? Like, because I feel like it's high. I feel like this one new construction that we were looking at was high. And I've watched this particular property. I thought that the builder bought it for too much. I thought they paid for the lot too much. But then you go back and you say, all right, well, what is the actual value right now? Because there's scarcity in this particular neighborhood with a brand new product in this price point. So they can ask a premium. So that's the difference. It's like, I don't know where to go. I want to say they're overpriced and I want to come in under, but what's the market going to say? What is the actual value? It's what somebody's willing to pay for it. And if it's new construction and they're only looking for new construction and they're willing to pay cash for it or whatever, then the price is what they want to pay for it.
Price is the price.
That's it. And
Shawn,
so
I saw a house in Dominion Hills, Lebanon Street, under contract for $995, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, that's probably about right. But then what I saw was the original asking price of 1.27. Yeah. Okay, and they're on the market for 7 days.
Wow.
So you mean to tell me that they dropped the price $270,000? They started at 127, and now they're at 995. In fact, they even went down to 985, and then they went back up to 995. Can you imagine what could have led to a $270,000 price decrease in the course of 7 days?
Bad strategy, really bad strategy, or not knowing your pricing. Dominion Hills, you've got to have a pretty nice house in Dominion Hills at 1.3.
But your strategy is, hey, we're either going to list at 995 or $1,025,000. It's not like 995 or 1.27.
Maybe it was a mistake, right? I wonder. Can you go into the history to see how long that was priced? That long?
The history's weird because you can't even see when.
You can't even see that. You know what happens? Maybe sometimes they put it on as coming soon. Was it coming soon?
It was coming soon at one point.
And it doesn't show the price, right?
And it doesn't show the price for coming soon.
So they probably maybe put it on a coming soon just to test it, to see. Okay. And then, because some people will do that because the public won't see maybe that price drop, but we will as agents. And so you could put it on and try it as coming soon to see what happens. And then we're not getting anybody. Let's come back to reality and put it where it needs to be, under $1 million.
They rented it out for $2,700 in 2019. Maybe it was a completely different house at that point. But man, you go from $2,700 a month to $1 million.
Is there interior pictures of that?
Of the 2,700.
Oh, look, it's totally different house.
I guess it is totally different. So it's not really fair just to look at it, on that standpoint.
Can you go back to the original listing?
Yeah.
And because it looks like a totally different. Okay, they put siding on it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's spruced up for sure. It still has the same carpet in a lot of places. Still has they overpriced this house, and they're probably still overpriced at $995 because Dominion Hills. You got to know the neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods don't. Each little neighborhood demands a certain price point, and this property that needs work, that doesn't have a finished basement, that has original bathrooms, at $995 is too expensive in Dominion Hills at this time, in my opinion.
Have you driven by the Grove at Dominion Hills recently? The new construction.
There you go. The Grove is a totally different thing, right? They're asking, where do their prices start now? Do you know?
Do they start at $2 million? I think
they've got to start at $2 million. But you're putting in, and these are huge houses in a plot of land right on Wilson and what's the other street on the top?
Is it McKinley? It's Patrick Henry. No, not Patrick Henry.
I can't think of it. Yeah, but right on the corner there. But the prices there are there, and they're trying to sell. I don't even know how many plots. A lot at $2 million and above, and it's an area that really wouldn't naturally get that. It would be a little bit lower, but having that new construction, naturally people are always intrigued and they're going to pay a little bit more. But, 2 million plus, and a lot of them are going 2.2, 2.3 in the Dominion Hills, just off that Dominion Hills area is pretty expensive for that neighborhood.
So expensive.
If you were selling that in Terraleeway Heights or anywhere else, they would be popping off like this. But that's part. It just doesn't get the value that others do. So you have to be careful.
If you have $2 million, that's your budget. Great.
Yeah.
Do you want brand new in kind of? You can't even walk to anything there. You got
You're
hills
almost Falls
everywhere.
Church, right? Like that's the thing is you're right on the corner.
You got a
of
bike path
everything.
there. It's cool. You got Upton Hills, which is cool. Or do you want to be in Westover or Lyon Park or Waverly with some coin to spare? But you know, it also makes me think, okay, are you a new house person or are you a 1920s? Because there's a lot of people that move into the area and they just don't understand that you have these like 1940s houses with these small closets and, interesting bump outs and additions and things like that. And you have old house problems. And there's a lot of people out there that probably say, screw that. I just want something brand new where I don't want to spend my entire weekend doing DIY projects.
Yeah, no, that's been my last two buyers. They only wanted new construction. So like that's the thing that you're looking at, and there's buyers for every section, but that's the truth. It's like most of these houses in Arlington are smaller, but anyways, $995. That's still active.
No, well, it's under contract.
Oh, it's under contract.
It's under
now.
contract.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it was just something where I was perusing the listings, and I was like, oh, what happened here?
Yeah, it's like the one we talked about the other day that
Which
drops every day.
Oh my gosh.
They're still dropping the price. If they would just do something maybe that was a little more thoughtful.
I think I'm going to miss not seeing it. Like whenever it goes away, I'm going to be disappointed that I don't see it.
I mean, it's
drop $1 every single day.
A long listing agreement, man. They've been doing that for a long time, for months now. So,
all right, Shawn, let's move on. Let's move on to an article from Washingtonian, where to find a more affordable waterfront house.
I love this.
So
thanks for bringing this up.
This is like right up your
here.
alley.
Yeah.
And I hate to do this like the month after that you bought your own house.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at the first one, Greenbackville. Shawn,
I have never heard of Greenbackville.
What's your file on Greenbackville?
It's non-existent. I've never heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, well, let me just pull up a map first so we know where we're at, okay? So we're Eastern Shore, okay? Think Chincoteague.
Yep.
Have we figured out how to pronounce Chincoteague?
Chincoteague, yeah.
Okay. But you're on like the Eastern Shore part. You're not on the actual island of Chincoteague. So what's interesting is there's not actually a beach on Greenbackville. It's more of like the Eastern Shore. You can still get waterfront, okay, but it's not Sandy Beach or anything like that. So this town near Chincoteague on Virginia's Eastern Shore abuts the Maryland border and is about a 3-hour drive from D.C. It's very rural around here, says Megan Oliver Clarkson, a real estate agent with Long and Foster. Although it doesn't have a beach, Greenbackville, I feel like it should just be like Greenback or like there's
Greenville?
Greenbackville Town Manor. Attracts boaters and fishermen.
Yeah.
One side of the town is a seaside fishing village with older homes, while the other is a development called Captain's Cove with a waterfront and inland houses. Captain's Cove boasts a marina, clubhouse, golf course, restaurant, 3 swimming pools, one indoor, 2 outdoor, fishing, crabbing pier, boat ramp, and 4 pickleball courts. Clarkson recently listed a 4-bedroom, 3-bath waterfront house built in 2021 for, drumroll, $599.
Good price.
Prices have seen an increase, she says, but it's still super, super affordable. Shawn, what are your thoughts on Greenbackville?
Yeah, can you go back to that map for me?
I'll go
My
back to
first
the map.
initial thought is, okay, you are very rural down here. So that is the bay, right? Is that the Chesapeake Bay? So
no. What is this body
Chop
of water?
Tank?
Oh, that is the Chesapeake Bay.
Okay. Chesapeake Bay. So you're on the Chesapeake Bay. But the one thing about this far south on the Chesapeake is that there's no bridge to go across. I don't believe
You can't go across. You have to go down to Chincoteague.
Yeah, you can't just go across
That's what your boat is for.
That's what your boat is for. You're correct.
Right.
But the other thing is, this is a lot of parkland.
Yes.
Right. So there's not like a town on
There's
the beach.
nothing.
There's nothing there. So there's a lot of parkland. But if you're looking for seclusion, you just want to go fishing on the Chesapeake. And that house, was that the house that they were talking about for $599?
No, that can't be. It can't.
Well, maybe, because I mean, it could be, because it is so rural. But these little towns like this are starting to see an uptick because people are looking for waterfront property. You know, they're looking for affordable waterfront property, and so people learn about these areas, and then all of a sudden it starts going. And there's another neighborhood down here. Where's the bridge that goes across from like North Carolina?
North Carolina.
Right there, that
right down here,
Virginia Beach. That's right.
Yeah, I don't know the bottom of the eastern shore. Was that Cape Charles?
Cape Charles.
That
Yeah, that's a little
place?
area down there that's starting to get hot.
Cape
too.
Charles is cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Cape Charles is expensive.
Yeah.
That's not on this list.
It's popping. Yeah.
Yeah. I looked at a couple houses, and when I say look at, I mean I went on Zillow and 5 seconds was like, oh, this is nice. Oh, this is way too expensive. But Cape Charles has a lot going on. Greenbackville does not.
Yeah.
So I think it's weird when like a town is like split between two states. And I think technically, if we look at the state line, I think all of the structures are probably within Virginia. But then you step like 5 feet outside of the town and you're like in Maryland.
Yeah.
I think cities are weird when it's like, oh, I'm in this time zone, but now I'm in this time zone. Or I'm in this state, now I'm in that state. So like the Kansas Cities, the insert other random Midwest towns that are on like a river that are split, between like Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas. So, I mean, certainly interesting. I would want a little bit more going on. Now, I looked at Captain's Cove on Zillow. Pretty cool. Shawn, they're selling plots of land for like $2,000.
Oh my gosh.
Why
wouldn't you buy it?
Why don't you just buy like 20 plots of land?
There's a golf course
hold
right
on.
there.
Yeah. No, this is the one with the golf course, the pickleball, the tennis, the clubhouse, the marina.
Let's just go buy land. Why not? $2,000?
Just speculate on land. Everyone's going to Captain's Cove. So let's go down the list. Let's check out the next one, Shawn.
Real quick about that one.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that area, isn't that where they launched the rockets? So there's an area down there where there's a rocket pad somewhere close to there, and they shoot them off. It's pretty cool.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, Shawn. Let's see. We have North Beach.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know North Beach?
I believe I do.
I think you do. Okay. So think Annapolis. Okay. Think kind of that's just south of Annapolis. So let me pull up the map here so you get your bearings going. So we have Annapolis there on the north, and then if you can't afford Annapolis, which hey, no shame in that game. Let me introduce you to North Beach. Yeah. Interested in a beach but not driving across the Bay Bridge, this quaint Maryland village on the western side of the Chesapeake, thank you, has a boardwalk, boat slips, and fishing. Yeah. Plus, says Jen Holden, an agent with Compass, cute restaurants and water activities. Condos are around $400K, while detached homes can run just under $1 million to $1.5 million. So, Shawn, this is kind of, I have some experience. So let's see, we have North Beach.
What's just south of North Beach? There's a town there that.
So we have Chesapeake Beach.
Chesapeake Beach, yeah.
Didn't you go to Chesapeake Beach?
Yeah, Chesapeake Beach is not far. It's so close. It's on the bay. It's on the Chesapeake Bay. There's a little boardwalk there as well. There's some cool things to do. If you need an escape to just get to, water, like salt water, not on the beach, but there is a little beach there on the bay, a boardwalk, some cute little shops and everything, and it's literally 40 minutes drive from DC, if that. So easy. You can make it, if there's no traffic, you can make it really quickly. So I've gone there a bunch of times, and North Beach is just north of that. And I felt like maybe it was getting a little more expensive, but what are the prices there? Like, do you know exactly? Or?
I don't know what they are in Chesapeake Beach, but
North Beach.
In North Beach, I mean, they can still be up to like $1 million. Yeah, so they're starting to get there. Now, I've never been to North Beach, but when I'm looking at it on Google Maps, I like what I see. So I like I like to actually see Santa Ana Beach. Yes, shocker. I also like, maybe it's a hot take, I like boardwalks. Yeah. Some people are saying, hey, where can I find a beach that doesn't have boardwalks in the Mid-Atlantic area? What's wrong with the boardwalks? I like the boardwalks. Is it contrived? Is it overdone? Is it, too touristy? Maybe. No. I don't know. It might be, but I'm into it.
I feel like it screams beach.
I like the infrastructure. Me too. Okay, you don't want a boardwalk. I'm sure there's some great beaches in Maine that don't have any boardwalks. Yeah. So I'm in on North Beach. I know this isn't in or out, but I'm in.
Yeah.
I also like Shadyside, Maryland. So this is kind of north of North Beach, but still south of Annapolis. Another kind of
beautiful. Yeah.
Podunk, beautiful.
But it's
kinda
still, it's getting
right
expensive.
on the bay,
isn't it?
getting expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
So Shady Side, not on the list, but that's my kind of tangential relationship to knowing this.
As you
town.
start getting north towards Annapolis, it's just going to get exponentially more expensive. But
And-
yeah, such a cool drive. And really, I mean, how long does it take us to get to Annapolis? I just drove it last night, probably about 50 minutes, maybe, if that.
All right, Shawn, the third one on the list, I am unfamiliar. Okay, so we are going deep into the Rolodex. All right, so we have Little Hunting Creek.
Are you kidding me? In Northern Virginia?
In Northern Virginia.
Oh, I know it well.
Okay, so Shawn, this nearly 4-mile-long tributary of the Potomac River in Fairfax County, wow, Fairfax, shouldn't be confused with Hunting Creek, a little farther north. Little Hunting Creek, not far from Mount Vernon, has water deep enough to accommodate decent-sized boats. 40-footers for sure, says Rebecca McCullough, an agent with McInerney Associates. You can get right out on the Potomac. Boating, canoeing, kayaking, and fishing are popular on the creek. Stratford Landing is on the east side, and then River State Estates is on the west. Houses run from $1 million to $3 million, well below nearby homes on the Potomac.
100%. I know this area well because I used to live in Stratford Landing for a while on Camden Street. And the reason we moved down there was because of the water access. Now, I didn't have a water access, but I had a canoe in my backyard, and I would take it right over to the park right over here. And I can't think of the name of the park right there.
Fort Hunt?
Fort Hunt Park. And I would just drop it in there and go canoeing it or kayaking right there. Actually, not Fort Hunt, but just south of
Just
that, right
south.
there, right where your clicker is, right?
Down
there,
here.
yes.
Was that Riviana, River Castle? I can't see.
Riverside Park. Okay, so
Riverside.
Riverside Park, I would just take it there and go straight in there. And I
Okay.
went fishing right at the mouth of Little Hunting Creek, and I caught my first, what's it called?
Catfish.
Snakehead. My first snakehead right there. It's really good fishing. But the great thing about it is, number one, it takes a little while down to get down there, right? You're taking the GW Parkway.
All right,
the
well,
whole way
we're
down.
comparing it to like 3-hour drives.
Right.
So let's put that in perspective.
In perspective, it's local. Okay, it's a local area, but driving down there, it took me a little while to get to Arlington because you're going up to the GW Parkway straight through Old Town, then to Arlington. So you're talking a good half hour to get down there from here. But when you're driving down the GW Parkway, it puts you in a whole different mindset. It's beautiful, it's quiet, and then you get down there. But the one area that you did not mention in here, you mentioned Stratford Landing, and on the other side, I can't remember the name of that. But there's also a neighborhood that I obsessed about for a long time, and it's called Wessington.
Okay, I didn't say it because I didn't know how to pronounce it.
Wessington.
Well, it says Wessington and Riverside Estates are on the west.
Yes, Wessington is. It has these little, well, not little, but mid-century modern kind of looking homes, and they're right on the water, and they are underpriced in my opinion. Like you can have a waterfront property in Wessington for like $1 million, and that, well, you used to be able to anyways. I don't know what they're at now, but really cool houses. You can find some gems in there. So if anybody in the Northern Virginia area is looking, they want to stay in Virginia, want to commute to DC, that's not too bad, that is looking waterfront property at right around $1 million, probably a little higher than that right now. Wessington's the spot. I almost bought there a few times. I obsessed over it for a long time, but instead I bought in Lake Barcroft.
I've never heard of this neighborhood before. I don't know if I can relax in Northern Virginia. Okay, so like if I'm going to the beach or to the water, I want to get away. Like I want to relax. If I'm in Northern Virginia, dude, my sights are heightened. I'm always on. I don't feel like, unless that's your life, unless your entire life is that. But if I'm in the friendly confines of the 703 area, dude, I can't think about relaxing.
Yeah, no, and Matt, let me tell you a little bit. Like we've said, I just bought a beach house, right? And it is, I feel the same way. I feel like if I'm in this area, I can't relax because business is here and everybody's calling you. But once I drove to my beach house on Tuesday night. Today's Thursday. I drove there Tuesday night. I stayed the night. I built furniture because we just got it and we're doing all this work on it. And we drove back last night. And I was sitting there on my back porch on the water. It's on the bay. And I was just like, I have no stress. And actually, I was talking to a client. We wrote on a new construction property here in Northern Virginia. And if you know anything about new construction and it's not built yet, you're going to know that there are builder contracts, and builder contracts suck, to say it lightly. They are the worst drawn up contracts, and they are totally seller-sided. They're not in the buyer's favor at all. So I read this contract for a while, and then she and I went over this contract while I was sitting on my back deck. We talked for an hour and went through, and I just highlighted the contract, and I was going through things with her, and I said, this is what I believe this means, and blah, blah, blah. I'm no lawyer, but this is what I've read. And at the end of the conversation, she goes, Shawn, where are you? She's like, I hear birds chirping, and it just seems so quiet and nice. And I'm like, you're right. I'm at my beach house, and I am loving it right now, because it just totally, even though I was going over a contract, I was still so relaxed because the breeze was good. And anyways, so my point is, if you're looking for an escape place, and I'll add my own place that I know of that I've discovered through the years, because I've always gone to Ocean City as my place of the beach, right? It's like a carnival on the beach, right? But it's what I love. So I found this place, and a lot of people know about it. It's called Ocean Pines, and it's directly across the bay, the Assawoman Bay, from Ocean City. And I bought a property. I think I got a good deal on it, but it was right around the $1 million mark, and I didn't buy it myself. I went on with somebody else. But you can find properties in here on the water. Yes, they're going to need some work for like $600,000. So it depends on if you're on the north side of Ocean Pines or the south side of Ocean Pines, but there are properties in there that you can find. If you just want a little cabin on the water for $600,000, you can find it. You can find it. So anybody that's looking there, man, I learned it so much. I was talking to a guy that grew up there yesterday. He's actually fixing my HVAC system. And people love it. People love it. So there's a thing to be said for getting out of this area and just relaxing it. And we all need it. And, there are a lot of water properties. And thankfully, we have the Chesapeake Bay here that we can escape to pretty quickly and just feel like we're not in the area.
I'm doing a deal with an agent, and she said she's down at her river house. I was like, where's that? And she said like Deltaville or Urbanaville or something like that. I was like, oh, that's cool. And she's like, yeah, I spend like 3 days down here and 4 days up there. I was like, oh, do you sell down there? She's like, no. I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. And I thought about it. Maybe she does all of her calls and her, Zooms, Monday through Wednesday, and then comes back up to Northern Virginia, cranks out showings, open houses, then goes back down and, sends out all the contracts sitting on the back deck overlooking the water.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good situation.
It's something now that we can actually do, especially as agents. There are days that we're super heavy in showings and where we have to be here, but there's other times where we could, go away. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for. This drive for me is only 2 hours and 40 minutes. I can be at the property. I can be back here in 2 hours. It's not that far, especially if you're driving at night.
Do you take the Tesla?
I have taken the Tesla.
What's the charging situation?
There's actually a charging right there, right by the house. If you go probably like 4 miles away, there's plenty of charging stations. Going there, there's a couple on the way.
But you charge up before overnight, and so when you drive out there, you park in your own garage.
Park in my own garage,
and then do you trickle charge overnight, or
I didn't do that. No, I didn't trickle charge. I'm considering putting a charger in there. The great thing about that house is the electrical panel is right in the garage.
Considering, why is that?
Because I've spent so much damn money on everything else. Like I've redone everything in that house, and it's funny, when you start renovating, you're like, I'm just gonna paint and I'm gonna replace the floors, and then it's like I'm gonna repaint, replace the floors, I'm gonna redo all the bathrooms, I'm gonna do all the lighting, and oh, by the way, I need a new HVAC system. So take it from me. When you think about renovating, you'll probably spend more than you would. Just like you were saying, you're going to spend more than you think you will on furniture. You know? It's just 100%. The way it is. But you know what? I said, now's my time. Life is short. Go have fun. Enjoy it. And I think that's what a lot of people don't do. They get caught up in the DC mindset of just go, business, and it's like, man, there's more to life.
More to it.
Yeah.
Including installing that EV charger.
Yeah, it'll come.
All right, Shawn, let's move on to in or out, whether you are in or out on a property. We're going to go to Old Town Alexandria. Okay, so Shawn, this is a 3-bed, 3-bath, 2,400 square foot house listed for $2.9 million. Let me introduce you to the Flounder house.
Yeah, cool.
Okay. Flounder house, meaning it's got like one roof that's got kind of slanted as opposed to like multiple slants to the roof. So step into a world of timeless elegance and contemporary luxury with this charming historic brick Flounder in Old Town Alexandria. Set on a rare 4,000 square foot lot and surrounded by natural light on 3 sides, this home and its meticulously curated gardens provide a serene retreat in the heart of an urban village. Originally built in the late 1700s, it has undergone a comprehensive restoration and renovation over the past 20 years, all while maintaining the authenticity of its historical character to the most minute detail. All right, Shawn, for $2.9 million, are you in or out on the Flounder house in Old Town Alexandria?
Wow, we're still going on these pictures. What's the square footage of this place? Do you know?
2,400.
2,400 square feet, 4,000 square foot lot in Old Town. What street's it on?
It is on Queen Street.
Oh, it's right on
511 Queen Street, right in the heart.
Right in the heart of Old Town. Now, this is tough to find right on Queen Street.
Look at
in
this
Old
backyard.
Town. Backyard is amazing. You know, man, this is tough. I originally, like right off the bat, I'm not into the historic properties, the older properties, just because, I mean, I like them. I feel like, oh, they're very cool, but I'm more of a modern living kind of person. You know what I mean? And I know the ins and outs of these older properties. You're going to have dips in your floors and all this other stuff. And it looks beautiful. The plot of land is probably beautiful. It's a great location. So I would say for the people that love history and love this kind of old architectural stuff, and in Old Town, you know, you have to abide by those historical guidelines, you would love this house. But for me, I'm not really into the historical side of things. I don't like the older homes. I want something modern. So for that reason only, I'm out.
Oh, the old bed coming out of a diagonal in the bedroom.
It's a tough one. See?
I'm out on
that. These are the things that you
That's
have to...
the thing I'm out on.
Yeah.
You know, I love the house. I love everything about it. You know, earlier I was talking about some people are just new construction people. It seems like you like more of that new stuff. Dude, I like more of the old stuff. What I don't like is the $2.9 million price tag. It's 3 bedrooms. It's 2,400 square feet. It's a large house. I feel like the backyard alone has got to be worth like, you know, just $1 million on its own.
Lot,
like
yeah.
Gorgeous property. In on the property, out on the price. If we ran comps, maybe I would tell you that this thing is worth every penny of 2.9 on paper, but doesn't pass the smell test for me when I'm looking at a $2.9 million house. So I think it's gorgeous. I love old properties. The older, the better. It's very functional. I'm out on 2.9. No thanks.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tough one. That's the thing is Old Town is expensive. Look, you've got baseboard heat in that area. I mean, like, I just not me. It's not my style, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're paying for location and you're paying for the size of that lot on Queen Street. So,
all right. Well, let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this episode. And for Shawn and myself, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you then.
take care.